Good morning.
Good morning. How are you after the weekend?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Good.
What we want to talk about came, I saw it as a shock yesterday in the headlines. So we've been
Yes.
speaking about this now for about 17 minutes before we pressed the live button, which we should have done while we were live. Is it just
Yes. So I think you must bring up that headline that you've got there.
yeah, no, where is it now? Okay, right. Okay, so this was this is the cover of the Rapport newspaper yesterday. Okay. For the people in English who don't understand Afrikaans, white farms are no longer allowed to export, says the government. Did I translate that correctly, Louise?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Wit boerderye mag nie uitvoer nie, sê die staat. White farms not allowed to export, says the government. Okay. So if you see that on social media or wherever, you will immediately get your underwear in a twist.
It's a typical example where a headline creates images and expectations which might or might not be realized in the body of the article. And in this case, we're not too sure about what it's actually saying. What it says there can be interpreted the way that, well, as we've just said, but what is really going on?
Well, the body of the article is not accessible unless you actually go buy the newspaper or if you are subscribed on their platform, which I think 95% of the people who actually leave a comment down here is not. They just see a headline. And I've always said, if you quickly want to gauge the IQ level of the average South African, just go read the comments on News 24. It's quite a dooming picture.
Well, that is a discussion all on its own, but that is also one of the dangers of being able to read only the headline of a story and not being able to read the rest of it, because that is literally the old adage, a little knowledge is dangerous. So let's go down the road with what else we saw.
Okay, so subsequent to that, I have found Rico Basson from Wine South Africa commented or shared an article yesterday. And I just want to get Rico's post here. I just want to get the right one. No, not that one. Yes, this one. Where he commented on this article, and I'll put this article up in a second. This is on farmingportal.co.za where they posted this article. So Rico's comment is, no change to export regulations. Johan, the article below is unfortunately not factually correct with a headline that is a bit misleading. What are the facts? The SA wine industry does enjoy tariff-free quotas export to both UK and the EU. This trade benefit is part of a much larger agreement between South Africa and the EU and the UK. And for wine, very beneficial, as it allows 71 million litres and 114 million litre tariff free to the UK and EU annually, with a ratio of 70% packaged and 30% bulk. The Department of Agri annual publish a notice regarding a renewal of quota and publication procedures. On 31st of October and 1st of November, as normal, the Gazette, with similar wording as prior years, were published regarding UK and EU. Whilst BBBEE codes are part of the methodology used in allegations that allegation. Is that allegation or allocation?
I can't see the text.
This is not compulsory. Businesses with turnover below 10 million rand are exempt and automatically receive level 4. Nothing sinister happened as the article implies. Okay. Subsequent to that, South African Wine put out a newsletter.
Yes, I've got that one.
Let me put it up on the screen. Right, here we go. There we go. Okay, you want to?
Yes, I think it pretty much outlines what you just said now. I just said some articles were published in the media this week in relation to the export quotas and the broad-based Black economic empowerment, which were factually incorrect and misleading. And we want to provide some clarity regarding permit requirements for the EU, the UK, EPA, and TQ. I'm not too sure what those acronyms stand for. But it says the permitting system is administered by DELRAD, that's the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, who publish the procedural requirements on an annual basis. Along with the requirements, an applicant must comply with any sanitary and phytosanitary requirements, rules of origin, and a number of other factors contained in the bilateral agreements. The allocation of these quotas take into account the market share of the applicants, the quota applied for, the total available quota, the number of applicants, and the BEE status of the applicant. These requirements are not new. I say that again, and they are not new, and mirror the previous year's requirements. So there are a whole list there. It'll take us quite long to read through all of this. But
Yeah, and
so,
at the bottom of this, there is the two links to the gazettes can be accessed below. The one for 2020, yeah. for the ones for 2023.
Okay, so that I think would, if anybody is wanting to know more, this is somewhere where you can go and find out, exactly what is in the legislation.
Yes.
But on the topic of BEE in general, we don't really know what's changed and what's new. But one thing, this is in the article which is in Farming Portal SA.
Yes.
I think this is one of them that might fall into the category of being not as transparent as as we know. But the very last line.
Let's put it up here so that people, it's not, we're not sharing hearsay. This is actual articles that's published.
Here is the article that's published. It outlines some of the details. There's a lot of information which would be difficult for us to. Yeah, but it does say who will be affected, and that the DA has already lodged a complaint with the trade officers of the EU and the UK. And it says the regulations violate the rules of fair trade that underpin South Africa's agreements with the EU and the UK, both of which are explicitly premised upon protecting human rights, democratic principles, and the rule of law. So there's a lot of hype around this, and a lot of misinformation, and a lot of very detailed government instructions, which one needs to read and know and fully understand, which we don't do, before one can make comments like some of the things that we've seen, particularly the comment in the report. So I think
but this is the question that we've got, is that we don't know. So what makes other people? Why would other people know? So if we've got all these questions, I think 95% of the government will also have the questions. So
yes,
not the government, the country, and the farmers and the exporters, and it's just question upon question, and nobody's got an actual answer as to what's going on.
When you see all this legalese, all these things written up as point this and point that, and referring to this and that, it gets very complicated for people that are not trained in all of that stuff to understand, to put it bluntly. And if people tell you it means this, but you don't really understand, which is exactly what's happened here, there is definitely a need to clarify all of this and understand exactly what it means.
Yes, for sure. And like I've mentioned in the post, if anybody, we would love to have somebody on to come and chat to us about this, because what I've also done is that, let me just remove this. Let me show you something else. Stop the screen. Where is this? Okay, this is the actual Gazette that was shared by Elton Greef on also on LinkedIn. And somebody tagged me in this. So I've gone and I've downloaded this. Okay, so everybody, this is the new age and things, and we have technology available to our use that we didn't have. So if you want to read through this whole thing, it is there, it's on the internet, you can download it. If you want to actually waste 35 minutes of your time that you'll never be able to get back to try and figure out what this thing says. So what I've subsequently done to this is, let me just share something else. Present window. Let me just find this quickly. Sorry.
It takes some doing to find all these things while you're online. It's not easy. So bear with us. We're getting there with the technology.
Yeah. I've got it open in another browser. There we go. Here we go. Share. Okay. Right. So ChatGPT is fantastic for these kind of things because it summarizes what is said there. So it's a long document, so I pasted it in a couple of parts, and I subsequently called in part 1, and it goes through. As soon as you press enter, it starts to do its own thing, but it doesn't know what to do because you've not given it a command. So I stopped it, pasting part 2 with all the stuff there. Just literally copy and paste. Didn't change anything. Again, it starts with its own thing. It doesn't know what you're wanting from it. And then I pasted in part 3. It's 20 pages worth of stuff. Right. So then it says, it seems you've provided a detailed list of tariff headings, descriptions, extents of rebate, annual quotas, tonnage conditions for the issuing of permits of various goods. This appears to be part of a government gazette or document related to customs and trade regulations. If you have specific questions, okay. So this is what it gave me. Didn't give it any command at this stage. I said you need to see part 1, part 2, and part 3 as one document. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. So then subsequent to that, I started asking the questions. I said this is the new 2023 document by the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform, Rural Development, South Africa. Based on the info provided, what is the criteria that farmers and businesses will need to comply to be able to export fresh produce from South Africa to the UK and EU? And then it gives you the thing. Exporting fresh produce typically involves compliance with various regulation standards, blah, blah, blah. Phytosanitary, quality standards, packaging and labeling, traceability, documentation, trade agreements. It is important for farmers or businesses looking to export fresh produce to consult with relevant authorities, such as DALRRD and the agricultural customs authorities in the UK and EU. These authorities can provide up-to-date specific information on the criteria and requirements for exporting fresh produce. Additionally, industry associates and trade organizations may offer guidance and support. I don't know. So, is there any detailed info about BBBEE, Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment, in a document that farmers or businesses will need to align with? Based on the information provided in document segments you shared, there is no specific mention of broad-based Black economic empowerment requirements. And then it gives you what is BBBE and all that kind of stuff. So I've gone through and asked it a whole bunch of questions, and it can't come up with an answer. This is simply a copy and paste, and then you let the AI tell you what's going on there.
Thank you for sharing all of that, because it just shows you. We sitting here, we have human brains, and we are looking at all of this, and we're trying to figure out what it means. The AI has looked at it and also does not see what's going on. So it seems like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors here, to be honest. And we would welcome somebody coming in and telling us what the whole real story is. Do you agree, dear Walt?
For sure.
For sure. So if anybody can outline this and call a spade and tell us exactly how this works, we would really appreciate hearing from you.
Yeah, I don't know what more to say. I was sitting last night thinking, oh, maybe I should say my mind or what I think about this government, and then I might get banned or locked up or something. But subsequent to that, reading through what actual industry bodies and industry experts have said, it is a big smoke and mirrors thing by the looks of things. So
Yes.
so again, but on that topic, so why is the DA lodging all these inquiries with the EU and the UK?
Yes,
if there's not
please.
something there.
We're asking questions that we think a lot of other people are probably asking, and we need help, because if we can't figure it out and the AI can't figure it out, who knows what's really happening here? So please, we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, because if why would a government entity like the DA, the official opposition, ask these questions if there's actually nothing new there in the Gazette versus the previous year? Did they not read the previous year's thing? Did they only find this out now? Other thing that I've always found interesting is that if all these things are tabled and all of a sudden gets written into the law, or this is the new bill that's just all of a sudden been passed, is it not shared with the whole parliament? Does the whole parliament not have a say in anything? Does the ANC just simply sneak in a document in the back door and just Cyril signs it and off it goes, and he goes and spends 24,000 Rand on a meal per person, as the front page of the report again said? Do they just do that, or does nobody know about this? Or is everybody allowed to have a say on everything discussed with the government in Parliament?
It's a very good question. And as far as affirmative action goes, I do know that South Africa is the only country where a majority is implementing affirmative action against a minority. So let's just leave it there and say we would love to hear from somebody who can tell us more.
Okay. There was other more good news stories that I actually wanted to talk about, but then this thing popped up.
It's Monday. Let's do the bad news on a Monday. Okay, guys. It's a big topic, and it has huge financial ramifications for a lot of farmers. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors. Even there's the whole motive thing, which I've just kind of touched on. Please, we'd love to hear from you.
But now imagine just playing devil's advocate here. Let's say nothing's changed and everybody's now making a big hoo-ha about utter bullshit, to put it straightforward. Is that, imagine now being that EU commissioner guy sitting in his office this morning, and then you get a phone call from John Steenhuisen or an email this long, explain to us this, and he's got no clue what it's about.
Yes, as we are equally in the dark. Okay,
yes.
I think we should wrap it up and hope that somebody will come out and give us a little bit more information about this, because
we don't know.
It really feels like we are in deepest, darkest Africa as far as understanding this whole thing. So
the last thing I must always add, if there's big stuff going on in the news like this, it means that the government is conniving somewhere in the background. So they've caused something for people to talk about so that they can move other things that will go unnoticed. That has also been in an old tactic that has been used.
Yes. Distraction.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, have a good Monday. We hope to hear from somebody. Have a good week. Cheers.
Cheerio.